Hello and welcome to A Bit Too Much to Think. Today is my video on the absolutely craziest sovereign citizen conspiracy theory that I've covered yet. It's absolutely insane, and I have to say, I'm really excited for this video. I did a lot of research for it, at least as best I could, to try to understand this conspiracy theory, so hopefully you enjoy it as much as I do. Now, remember that video that went viral of a judge dealing with a sovereign citizen who kept changing if he was the man, the corporation, the individual known as John Doe or whatever? And the judge pretty effectively put him in his place. This explains why that sovereign citizen actually believed that garbage. Enjoy. So, while researching for my gold fringe video, I came across some statements that, alongside beliefs that gold fringe on a flag means it's a court of admiralty, they also believe that there are secret bank accounts set up in each citizen's name to pay back debts to foreign entities, and that they can reclaim this account. Yes, really. So a good place to start is a very informative article from George Washington University. They discuss the main start of this theory, stating, quote, "Shortly after the unanimous ratification of the 14th Amendment in 1870, sovereigns believe the government was quietly overthrown by corrupt bankers who transformed the government into a corporation and subjected the American people to an entirely new set of commercial laws. In the sovereign narrative, this new set of commercial laws usurped the Constitution and overturned its protections for citizens. This corporation is often referred to as the de facto government and is seen as illegitimate." So, this is why most sovereign citizens won't follow federal laws, because they believe that the government was replaced by bankers. I'm not sure what proof they have other than, bro, believe me. But this really is the source of most of the SovCit insanity and BS. The federal government is illegitimate because bankers took over? Again, no proof, just saying it. But the article goes on, saying, "Some sovereigns go even further, believing that the government secretly holds funds to which the citizen is entitled. Under this theory, known as, quote, redemption, certain legal filings can be used to access these funds by filing a pseudo-legal document meant to serve as a repayment of debt. The United States corporation is bankrupt, some sovereigns believe. The cause of this bankruptcy is often understood as related to the U.S. government's decision to abandon the gold standard in 1933. Because of this, some believe the United States corporation had to incur foreign debt, using its citizens as collateral." Now, again, I'm not sure what proof sovereign citizens have other than, dude, trust me. According to the ADL, the redemption theory is also called straw man theory, because the creating of this secret bank account also creates a straw man that is used by the government. The goal then becomes reclaiming your straw man for yourself, and then you get all the money in your account. Problem solved. The UNC School of Government says that the amount ranges, quote, from hundreds of thousands of dollars, $630,000 is a common number, to millions, depending on which sovereign citizens group version you hear. Now, I can't find which groups say which numbers, and this is because the UNC School of Government decided to not cite any of their sources? What the heck, dude? This is like third grade stuff. There's literally an Arthur episode about citing your sources. You're supposed to do it. I don't care if this is about a bunch of conspiracy theorists that think the federal government is fake. You're an institution of higher learning. You should know to cite your sources. God, I need a fucking drink. We finally get a piece of evidence on why the sovereign citizens claim this bizarre notion. Quote, "In sovereign citizens' view, the government-controlled and enslaved straw man is evidenced by documents showing the person's name in all capital letters. Birth certificates, social security cards, driver's licenses, tax forms, etc. Therefore, they represent only the shell corporate identity, the straw man, because they are written in all caps. So capital letters is their proof? I don't think I need to point out how dumb this is, but I will anyway. The last little bit here is from a law enforcement document I found on sovereign citizen activities, and it is detailed. It actually goes through the exact process that sovereign citizens try to use to get their strawman account money. I won't bore you with all the details. Instead, I will use it to point out three things. One, that sovereign citizens believe that these accounts are called U.S. Treasury Direct Accounts. I can't help but laugh at this. I mean, it's the most fake-sounding bank account of all time. It's worse than when those Indian phone scammers that are like, I am calling from Bank of Visa MasterCard Chase about your car loan. It's terrible. The second thing is that once the sovereign citizens file a request for release of funds to the US Treasury, the Treasury never responds because it's a fake document. It just gets shredded with the rest of the trash. So then the sovereign citizen just responds that a, quote, lack of response is assumed to indicate the US Treasury Direct Account is available for access by the sovereign citizen. So the Sovcits just say, you didn't respond to my fake document? Cool, I have imaginary money now. Finally, is the belief that, quote, absent the gold standard, the US government needed securities to participate in global trade. Sovereign citizens believe that the US government issued social security numbers and birth certificates as a means to register US citizens for use as collateral to be used in trade agreements with other countries. So this is where the secret bank accounts come from, and I'll get back to this in a second. So for those like me that never paid attention in high school, let me give you a brief rundown of the gold standard in the US and what it means. Please note that this is a broad simplification of a wide-ranging subject. So, because people have valued gold and silver for like 1 billion years, some governments said that their currency is a representation of a certain amount of gold and in some cases silver. This gives the currency value in the minds of people because at any time you could exchange an amount of money in that currency with that government and receive a set amount of gold and sometimes silver. The US entered a bimetallic standard in 1792 with the Mint and Coinage Act, meaning silver and gold would be used to back up the US dollar. The US then ended the use of silver in this respect in 1873, and then in 1879 set a gold standard. Then in 1933, FDR effectively removed the US from the gold standard by requiring that all gold in denominations of more than $100 be turned in for US dollars. Then in 1974, President Nixon completely removed the US from the gold standard, announcing that the US would no longer allow the conversion of dollars for any amount of gold. So getting back to the secret bank accounts, there's two things about this idea that America needed securities to trade globally, and these are the two reasons that I just thought of off the top of my head. I'm sure there's thousands more, that this whole idea is stupid. So first, just because our money does not have a gold backing anymore doesn't mean America was broke. We had tons and tons of gold because we bought it back from every American citizen. So the government still had something globally valuable. We didn't need to make secret bank accounts for every person. We had the gold. And the second point is most other countries were either off the gold standard at this point or left it within 15 years. So why is it just America in need of securities? Wouldn't that mean that every single country had nothing of value anymore? God, I hope the rest of the world doesn't take up this conspiracy theory. We don't need more of these people. So these are the reasons that this theory is ridiculous, and it is super fun to laugh at. But the final point of this video is scamming. See, almost every one of these sources that I use today says that people, in one case a specific name was mentioned, sell these techniques for reclaiming your secret bank account. These a-holes invented these fake ideas to scam people, and that's pretty terrible. According to the FBI, they sell these fake documents as debt relief systems. And if you didn't learn a lot about US history or economics in school, you might actually find these ideas plausible. I mean, the US not having their currency backed up by gold does sound really bad, just from an initial standpoint. And believe me, the Sovcit gurus selling this crap are not telling the full story. They're not telling people that the US bought back all the gold from people. Or that pretty much everyone was off of the gold standard at this point anyway. So these awful sovereign citizen gurus, whatever you want to call them, They target the vulnerable to pad their bank account. They lie to people in debt desperate for relief. They target the uneducated to fool them. And they make more money the more people they deceive. It's pretty awful. So, while it is fun to laugh at these weirdos, and fun to make fun of how ridiculous the theory is, it's important to realize that this is used by evil people to hurt the vulnerable. So, make sure those close to you are not falling into these traps. We should protect the vulnerable in this world. Thank you very much for listening to A Bit Too Much to Think. If you liked it, leave a like. If you want to see more, subscribe. And if you have any more thoughts on it, leave a comment. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful day.